Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect. All right, in a bizarre twist of things, all right, as you can see here, all right, religious sect, burning shed, focus of deadly Colorado fire investigation. All right. Now, this is going to be a bizarre twist. All right. Because look at the name of the group. All right. The 12 tribes. Right. The group is known as the 12 tribes, but in a bizarre twist, it's an Edomite group. Okay. And they're being tied to a particular fire that led to multiple fires in Colorado. And this is very ironic, you know, because if brothers see this, you'll first think that, well, they're trying to blame Jake, all right, and try to tie Israel, all right, to these fires and terroristic acts, which they are. But it's ironic that they use an Edomite group. Now, one of the things that I have, or we have, over the years told you is that Esau will attack white supremacist groups. All right, they've been doing that over the last couple of years. You hear this talk of white supremacist group. We got to stop white supremacists. White supremacists are the most dangerous groups, you know, because historically, you know, what group of people have used their race and superiority complex to harm others? Okay, it's been Edomites. Okay, Jake doesn't go around doing that. Jake doesn't go around using the fact that they're so-called black or so-called brown. All right, you know, the terms that they take on in this system of Edomite supremacy. All right, which is nothing but confusion. They don't take on those terms and go around harming people, stealing lands, creating pseudoscience to say that they're superior using their race. Esau did that. You started all of that. No nation has ever, you know, based their superiority upon skin color, but you Edomites. You started this big mess. But anyway, they know historically they've been the ones tied to bombing churches and, you know, it's been the Edomite supremacist groups. All right. They're the ones who've historically in America been the most dangerous. So when you see Esau talking about they want to, you know, fight against these white supremacist groups and they're a problem, okay, what they're doing, okay, because as you read this article, what they're doing is they're ultimately going to say anyone, okay, associated with Bible belief and talking about race and then and say that we're no different. At the end of the day, they want to say that the Israelites are no different than the KKK. The Israelites are no different than these white supremacist groups that go around harming, raping, robbing, murder, bombing, burning things down. And that's all this is witchcraft. So let's read this again. Authorities are investigating a devastating fire in Colorado and are focusing on a burning shed on a land owned by fundamentalist religious sect known as the 12 tribes. Okay. Boulder County Sheriff Joe Pele, and all people need to do is see the term fire in 12 tribes, and you know what's going to snap in their mind. The Israelites. They ain't going to think about Esau. They're going to think about us, the so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who are raising up in these latter days. It said they're narrowing down the investigation of the fire's origin on a land owned by the sect, but caution that investigators are going to be careful before making any conclusions. We will sort it out, yada, yada, yada. Now, what I wanted to jump down to, it says the religious groups now under scrutiny, which idolizes sons, requires community's input before people can populate or copulate. All right. Before you can have sex, you got to go through an order. I'm guessing. I don't know what they mean by that. But copulation is seed issuing forth. It says, and describes itself as an emerging spiritual nation. It dates back to the 1970s. So all of a sudden, because what did we teach in 1970? After 3.5 days, the spirit of life from the Most High entered into us here on this earth. That's when Israel started to be preached on a larger scale around 1970, when a man by the name of Abba Bivens, okay, because before that you had Torah only Israelites, but then he brought the understanding of the new covenant and Yahushai, all right, the high priest of that new covenant. So, here it is, ironically, at the same time, this group spawned out. Okay, it could be something that they just made up. It could be something that actually happened. All right, but it's ironic they take on the name the 12 tribes, but it's more. Okay, it dates back to 1970 when it began in coffee shops in Tennessee. There are offshoots in Europe, Australia, South America. Each tribe is self-governing but adheres to similar tenets that line up with the ideology. Men wear long hairs and beards. Women's attire is closely guarded. All right, let's keep going down. It says we are a confederation of 12 self-governing tribes made up of self-governing communities. All right, and as we're going to read down, they got Jake members as well. But we know this is all a play on the emotion. Now, should we do what vocab does and say, wow, look what these white Hebrew Israelites did? Anyway, because we can go all day with what you Edomites do. Okay? And that's ultimately, at the end of the day, they're using these white supremacist groups and calling them out as a ploy to link us all in one, band. Because Jake ain't going around using the fact that they're Israelites, all right, to steal lands, set up systems of superiority, rape, rob, and murder. That you Edomites did that. But what they're going to try to do is tie their behavior to anyone who has a voice in these latter days. Okay? Especially you Israelites, because we know that the dragon is going to be wroth with the woman. So it's going to be all manner of lies, persecution, things that other people do that they're going to say, people who think like this all do this. So this is why you've seen a big push, even by the Southern Poverty Law Center, to speak out on Edomite supremacist groups, right? Because what they're doing is trying to paint a narrative, all right, that the behavior of those Edomite supremacist groups, which they even admitted, Edomite supremacists are the number one group that rape, robs, and murders. They're the number one domestic terrorist group. Okay? So they're calling them out openly. You've seen in the news, you've seen in that they've called out white supremacist groups, but at the same time, synonymously, they're starting to bring up Black Panthers, this, Black Muslim, Black this, and then the Black Hebrew Israelites, which is a buzz term, okay, that they will use as a means of persecution. So no Israelite group should be calling themselves Black Hebrew Israelites. There's no such thing. But ironically, all right, when particular camps address us like IUIC, what do they say? Those black bum Hebrew Israelites. They always put that term Black Hebrew Israelite on it. I always thought that was a bit agent-ish. And there's a group, ISUPK Yonkers, who recently, their street preachings have been titled Black Hebrew Israelites. Why would any Israelite, knowing what Esau's doing, try to link themselves to that name or put that name on another group? There's no such thing as a Black Hebrew Israelites. As we always bring out, you're going to have Israelites that look like Edomites. You're going to have Israelites that look like Moabites. You're going to have Israelites that look like Hamites. You're going to have Israelites that look like every nation under the heavens. Now, the original Hebrew Israelites, the original as we started, we ranged from a dark, all right, to a light brown. But what happened? We were scattered. Okay? And the seed of our fathers has been in many waters all over the earth. So to say, to limit an Israelite to just being black is stupid at this time. Okay? And the Heavenly Father said that his heritage would be as a speckled bird. As we've been in these many waters and scattered throughout these many nations, what happened when the Moors was in Europe? They laid with the women. Okay, now let's say that seed, because the seed that's planted in a woman takes upon some of the physical characteristics of the woman, but it's still the seed of the man. On down the line, all right, that line, which is still Israelites, can look completely like Edomites. That's why you got to be spiritual, man. But a lot of Israelites don't want to accept that. But anyway, there's a lot of left-hand behavior going on, and this is the year of the turn up. Give me 1 second here. This is why they call it this is why Apostle Tahar termed this the year of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, turning up. Okay? Turning up. Anyway, so the black Hebrew Israelite, that's a political term that's going to be used for Esau to forward his propaganda. So any Israelite you see using those terms, you should look at them some type of way. No such thing as a black Hebrew Israelite. Are they purple ones? Are they red ones? Black is a color, not a nationality. It's only a nationality in Esau's Edomite supremacist system. Okay? Nations are not determined by a color. All right? But when we get back in the kingdom, we're all going to get our for the brothers and sisters who may, we're all going to get our color back. We're all going to get that royal, because that is the royal way to look. Don't get it twisted. But shit, you got Hamites who are black as hell. All right? Does that make them Israelites? No. But anyway, we are a confederation of 12 self-governing communities, yada, yada, yada. We live on farms. We are called the disciples of the Son of God, whom we call by his Hebrew name, Yeshua. Now, if anyone's just reading this article, okay, which most people are going to do, they're just going to look at the title, read a little bit into it, and say, see those black Hebrew Israel. But who is this really? Who did this? An Edomite group. It's an Edomite group that started in the 70s, okay, that are known as the 12 tribes, and they have black members. But let's keep reading. The sect has historical roots in racism and homophobia and has been investigated for its treatment of children. Wherever there's a group of Edomites, children are being tortured or mistreated. All right, look at the Roman Catholic Church. According to local news reports, members are not allowed to be employed independently, but work on communal farms and provide food for the families who live together. In 2018, the Southern Poverty Law Center's intelligence report warned that the sect was potentially dangerous. Beneath the surface lies a triangle of doctrine that teaches its followers that slavery was a marvelous opportunity for black people who are deemed by the Bible to be servants of whites. So you see, they threw that in there. Slavery was a marvelous opportunity for black people who are deemed by the Bible to be servants of whites. And you got Edomites that go around. They say that we're the seed of Cain. All right. Or Canaan, the Hamites, the son of Ham. Cursed be Canaan. I believe it said he should be the servant of Shem. So what they say, they're the head and we're the tail, basically, using these different points in the scriptures to prove their madness. But what they're going to do is say, well, see, just like the white people are using this ideology to push this and historically have enslaved blacks, well, the blacks are using it now to do the same thing. And we're not teaching we're going to put you in captivity here. You're going to go into captivity when Yahushua returns. We're beamed up and eventually we come down and set up order on the earth, because not everybody's going to be destroyed. All right. Once World War III and Babylon is destroyed, it talks about how in Revelation 6 and Revelation 9, in Jeremiah 16, how they're going to hide themselves in the holes, them underground bunkers. Okay, so what we're going to do is come down, okay, New Jerusalem, perfected spiritual bodies, and set up a government on the earth. And all of you heathen who are left, you're going to be in subject to that. And we're going to teach you the law, statutes, and commandments. And you're going to have to live by those standards. And you will be enslaved, yes. Okay, but to see the slavery that these Edomites have that's put a stain on servitude. There's always been servitude. Now, yeah, you are going to pay. Okay, and yeah, there will be punishments upon the people, but the final, when it's all said and done, after the Edomites are done away with, all of the heathen nations will just be in subject to the government, the throne of David. Okay, the air will be clean, the water will be clean. Okay, so there is some form of, all right, light ahead for the heathen. Yeah, you will pay. All right, but you'll be that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. You'll see paradise. You'll be able to witness it. You just won't be on our level. And that's a good thing. Right? You won't be on our level. You won't have the laws written in you. The covenant doesn't belong to anyone but the 12 tribes of Israel. All right, but they're going to use particular talking points in our doctrine to say that we're going around and doing it now. All right, like Nero did with the fire. Right? What did he say? He said he started a fire and then he blamed it on the followers of Yahushua. He said they did it because when you listen to their doctrine, they always talk about how Babylon's going to burn. Well, they say, well, they burned this temple of Jupiter. They always speak against our idols anyway. They did this. Same thing's going to happen now. But right now, they're playing mind games with the people and just putting any manner of garbage out there because they're on the ropes. Okay, remember, they're taking counsels. All right, let's get that in the scriptures. They are wearied in the multitude of their counsels. Okay, they have to figure out a way to link this movement to carnality. But see, they're as we've been telling you, they're going about it in a way where they're calling out Edomite supremacist groups too. So you can think that, wow, they're really, but they have a plan behind everything they do. Okay. Isaiah 47. All right. I just hit the point. And 13, thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. So they're having counsels of what next, a false flag to put out there. What should we put in the news? How should we come about this? How should we go about that? Let's put this out there. Let's put that out there. Okay, so this time we're going to use the 12 tribes of Israel as the ones who started a fire or doing some friction. But this time we'll put a white face with it. Thou art wearied in the multitude of thy counsels. Let now the astrologers, the stargazers, and monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. So let's see if the witchcraft and all of the lies that you put out there are going to save you, all right, from what's coming upon you, because that's really what you're trying to do. You're trying to escape, all right, the judgment that's tied to the words we're speaking. And you're trying to figure out a way to make people, all right, who are speaking out against your wicked devices and plans carnal. Right? So they speak against, let's see here. The group wrote a report while homosexuals are shunned by the 12 tribes, though ex-members say the group brags about unnamed members who are formerly gay. The ISUPK brags on that. They say they got brothers who were formerly gay. The group actively proselytizes to African Americans, yet one of its black leaders glorifies the early Ku Klux Klan. You see that? You see the madness that's going on here? And it's confusing because if you're not really privy to, that this group is an Edomite group, you're reading this like, wait a minute. The 12 tribes is usually, so-called blacks or so-called Hispanics, Native Americans. What is this? And that's what it's meant to do. Confuse you. But really, the average person ain't going to look into all that. They're going to just see 12 tribes started a fire. That's all they need, right? And that's how they play on people's emotions and mind as they're going to come down with all of these this propaganda soon. Okay, real soon. All right, you're going to have Israelite groups that teach stuff like we teach, all right, with Jake in the camp set up to do things that they're going to try to use to blame on all of us. Watch. Oh, boy. The report also said that the sect tried to keep its extremist teachings on race from novice members and outsiders, though interviews with former members who escaped say the teachings were disturbing, especially for black members who must reconcile the appalling teachings on race with their own heritage and skin color. Police have not ruled out that, yeah, they just had to throw all of that in there, right? They just throw all of that in there. For what? Because we know what they're doing, all right? Police have not ruled out that arson sparked the deadly blaze, but they did carry out a search warrant reportedly tied to the 12-tribe land. Yada, yada, yada. So this fire destroyed burned down that neighborhood. Governors involved. So there you go. I just wanted to put this out there for anyone who sees this article and try to say that, well, they're trying to blame Jake. Well, they are, but there's a little twist with this one, And when it's all said and done, they're going to be coming, up against us, saying that we're going around the earth doing these things. Well, we know the top nation on the planet Earth that goes around harming others based upon his so-called racial superiority. No other nation does that like he does it. And especially these Israelites that are being raised up in these latter days. At most, though you may see a few of these Jakes walking around with guns, which isn't wise to walk around with it. Okay? Because you're not going to get a victory by a gun. But at best, we're just complaining. We're just reading out of a book, prophesying on what's going to happen. We ain't went around nobody's neighborhood and harmed them or caused a fire. But you do have stupid ass Israelite groups who do stupid shit. All right, spray painting trains. This is weird, man. Like what are you doing? But at the end of the day, the Lord is going to separate the real from the fake either way it goes. The elect will always be protected. All of the accusations that they're going to bring will not stand against those who are sincere. So I just wanted to bring this out. Interesting times, twists, turns. This is a beautiful movie, man. Shalom.